Welcome to the Informed Simplicity Project, a place for learners. And today we're reviewing John Gottman's book, What Makes Love Last? How to Build Trust and Avoid Betrayal. Basically, this is John Gottman's book on affairs, betrayal, and sex. Phenomenal book. You have to have this book if you're going to be a couples counselor. And I would love to take a minute right now and just give you guys my top 7 takeaways from the book. Okay, so let's start off. First, attack, defend. I thought naively that at some point in your relationship, you hit this level where if your partner attacks you, you don't get defensive, right? You just say, "Oh, yes, dear, of course. I understand how you're really feeling underneath all that anger." Gottman says that that's bull. He says even in the very best relationships, people get caught up in attack defense cycles. And to me, this is so normalizing. It lets me know that I'm not crazy. And that it's okay. It's okay occasionally to get into fights. So good. Attack, defend. All right, next is the Zeigarnik Effect. So apparently there was this young female psychology student in Europe half a decade ago or half a century ago who discovered that waiters at restaurants remember their orders until the order is completed. And this basically has huge implications for memories, because what this means is memories stay in working memory until you have a sense of closure or resolution. I've seen this so many times with clients, right? Clients will come in and one person will say something else, will say something, and then the next thing I know, the other person is bringing up, well, you did this 8 years ago and you did that 7 years ago, and what about the time that this happened? Which is not at all what we were talking about. And what they're demonstrating is those events are still alive for them. They don't have a sense of closure or resolution. And so I think in addition to working with cycles, we also have to work on these unresolved memories, these incidents from our past that don't have closure. So I love it. The Zeigarnik Effect. Third, 30% is enough. Gottman says that in his in-depth study of couples, one person is only attuned to the other 30% of the time. This, for me, mirrors the Ed Tronick study where he says that moms are only attuned to their babies like 36% of the time, I want to say. And it, for me, is so freeing, right? You only got to get it right in a relationship 30% of the time. I can do that. That is something I can definitely do. So the 30% rule, 30% is enough. Attune, attach, which is 5 for me. Attune, attach is Gottman's affair recovery model. He basically says that if you want to heal from an affair, you've got to first atone, and then attune, and then attach. That's a whole video on its own. But the thing that I took away from it was if a couple wants to repair their relationship, there has to be an atonement process. And I think Gottman being this overt with it helps me to be more overt with my clients. I mean, I feel a lot more comfortable now in saying, hey, if you guys want this relationship to last, if you want to reconcile, then what has to happen is the person who stepped out of the relationship has to atone. They've got to say, hey, these are the ways in which I'm making things better. Here are my passwords. Here's my accounts. I never want this to happen to you ever again. And I feel a lot more comfortable being that overt with my clients now. So atone, attune, attach. 6th, sex technique does not matter. There was a massive study that they did about what made for sexual satisfaction. And they included a bunch of different techniques and positions and yada, yada, yada. And basically, what they found out was that it's not about the sex technique, it's about the quality of the relationship. To me, this mirrors all the Scott Miller stuff, right? Where he says, look, people think that therapy is about the technique, but it's not. It's about your relationship to your clients. And the same seems to be true in sex as well, especially in long term relationships. What's the quality of your relationship? And that dictates the quality of your sex life. And then 7, if you want more sex, it has to be more than okay to say no. So this is from the appendix. Gottman goes into hardcore game theory. He discusses it's a lot of numbers turned into letters, right? Those are weird Greek symbols. And he brings up Nash's equilibrium, which is Nash is the guy from A Beautiful Mind, he was a game theorist. So he goes into some hardcore math. I'm not even going to pretend that I understand all of it, but I will say that I really like his point that if you want to have more sex, you need to make it more than okay to say no. And it's something along the lines of, if your partner feels bad saying no, they want to avoid feeling bad. So then they begin to avoid sex. But if your partner feels good saying no, then they feel more comfortable approaching the issue, which leads to having more sex. I think that this is so true, not just for sex, but also for society. You know, if we want a society where people are free to learn and grow, it has to be more than okay for them to fail. It has to feel good in some ways to fail. And if we want a society where everyone has a seat at the table, it has to be more than okay to say, this doesn't work for me. I feel excluded here. It has to almost be rewarded for you to be that open. So that was, has to be more. If you want more sex, it has to be more than okay to say no. Those are my takeaways. I'd love to hear what you guys think. And of course, if you enjoy this, feel free to subscribe or tell one friend. All right. Have a good one.